Welcome to your daily dose of sci-fi adventures. New stories dropped every single day. Smash that subscribe button and ring the to help us reach 1,000 subscribers and unlock even more epic cosmic tales. The twin moons of Solari and Lunari hung low in the lavender sky, their pale light pooling like liquid silver over the endless coral dunes. A soft breeze sifted through the crystalline spires of Nalaris, setting them to singing a gentle, resonant hum that mingled with the rustle of bioluminescent grasses. On nights such as this, Archelians believed the world was most open to dreams and to omens. High above the desert plain, something shattered the tranquility. A streak of white-hot fire bloomed against the sky, trailing silver smoke and a terrible keening roar. The craft's plasma wings flared once, twice, then collapsed inward as it plummeted earthward. Locals emerging from their dwellings halted in wonder. No starship had ever breached Arkel's atmosphere in living memory. As the ship struck, a thunderclap of sound rattled windows, and the dunes trembled beneath its impact. Within moments, the first responders, glimmering figures in flowing cassocks of opaline fabric, arrived at the crash site. They were the healers of the celestial spire, gifted with empathic medicine that let them sense pain and fear as tangible currents of energy. Around the smoking crater, they found twisted metal and molten glass, but most striking of all was the lone survivor, a human woman, face down in the hot sand, breathing shallowly. Healer Mara's slender fingers hovered above the woman's shoulder, feeling the tremor of adrenaline mixed with exhaustion. "She is frightened," Maris whispered in a tonal trill that resonated like a harp, "and in pain, though her spirit fights onward." Together, the healers lifted the injured stranger onto a woven stretcher of living fiber harvested from the coral reeds that grew near the desert's crystalline lake sand. Carried her back toward Nalaris. As they traveled, the ship's blackened hull glowed faintly against the dunes, a stark testament to technology far beyond the spired city's own. Rumors spread swiftly that a warship had fallen, that an invader had come, that Arkel's long-hidden world might soon be exposed to interstellar politics and war. At the gates of Nalaris, sentinel towers carved from living crystal shimmered under the moon's glow. Their surface refracted light into kaleidoscopic patterns across the turf, creating dancing rainbows on the pearl-white walkways. Soldiers in iridescent armor parted to let the healers through, curiosity etched on their angular faces. For these guardians, the crash was both miracle and menace. A miracle that no lives had been lost among their own, a menace that their peaceful world had been breached at all. Deep within the celestial spiran, immense tower of translucent crystal whose halls were lit by drifting motes of phosphorescent gas, the healers laid their charge. Upon an obsidian healing table, Maris placed her palms a few inches from the woman's chest. A soft glow pulsed between them as empathic energy flowed, warmth to soothe burns, harmonics to stabilize her heartbeat, threads of calm to unravel the human's fear. The woman stirred, eyelids fluttering open to reveal dark eyes brimming with confusion and pain. She gasped as if waking from a storm, drawing in desert air laced with sweet pollen. "Where am I?" she whispered, her voice hoarse but strong. A translator device, an Archelian marvel of crystalline resonance, hovered at her side, its tiny facets spinning to align sonic frequencies. "You are on Arkel," intoned a measured female voice. "You have crashed outside Nalaris. My name is Healer Maris. Are you injured?" The woman sat up slowly, jaw tense with disbelief. "Arkel," she said, a hand to her head, wincing. "My name is Lieutenant Marina Chen, United Earth Coalition. I don't understand how I got here. My ship went offline. Next thing I know, I'm waking up on your world." Healer Maris exchanged a glance with her companion, Elder Sorina, tall Archelian whose pale skin seemed almost translucent in the spire's glow. Sorin's eyes, deep pools of opal, studied Chen with restrained curiosity. "A human starship," he murmured, "interstellar contact, without our consent or preparation." "I'm sorry," Chen said, voice low. "I didn't choose this. I survived the crash, but my calms are fried. I don't know if anyone on Earth knows I'm here." The Archelians conferred quietly, in the language of Arkel. Words carried more than meaning. They wove empathic patterns that could heal or harm, reassure or alarm. The council decided that Chen posed no immediate threat. Instead, she was a living bridge between two worlds that must not spill blood on one another by accident. Under Soren's guidance, Chen was moved to a private chamber within the spire's inner sanctum. Walls of prismatic crystal glowed softly, shifting hues with the emotion of the occupant. In the center lay a bedding of woven silver fibers, cushioned and warm. Here, Chen received food distilled from lotus petals and crystalline water brimming with rare minerals. Null on her system, yet invigorating. Over the course of several days, she rested, her body healing under the careful ministrations of Arclean bio-wave therapy. In return, she answered endless questions. How does Earth govern itself? What dangers lurk in the void? What are the Coalition's intentions toward unknown worlds? Each answer sparked new fascination. The Arcleans, who had retreated into isolation for centuries after the great sundering of their solar neighborhood, hung on every word. Yet as Chen recuperated, word of the human among them spread through Nalaris. Street vendors whispered in the glowing market squares. Scholars debated the political ramifications in amphitheaters lined with living vines. Children gawked at the human's rugged uniform and curious flesh that did not shimmer. Some feared, from rumor that the Coalition were conquerors. Others hoped Chen's presence might herald an era of interstellar friendship. On the seventh day, Chen was summoned before the Quinari Council, a semicircular assembly of 8 elders seated on crystalline thrones, their forms lit from below with a tranquil blue light. Above them hung the tapestry of ages, woven strands of living crystal that shimmered with Arkel's history. Soren introduced Chen with a gesture as ancient as their culture, both arms extended, palms up, conveying complete trust. Lieutenant Marina Chen of Earth, Soren declared in fluent common tongue. By the laws of hospitality, you are our guest. By the laws of cosmic caution, you are our responsibility. Speak freely that we may understand your truth. Chen stepped forward, feeling the weight of 1,000 gazes, but also their earnest desire to learn. I was on a reconnaissance mission, she said steadily. We sought new resources for Earth and allies against growing threats. My ship malfunctioned in near orbit, and I lost contact. If I can repair my calm ray, I will request extraction. I mean no harm to your world. A ripple passed through the council. One elder, Sirenko, a conservative voice draped in robes of deep amethyst, frowned. Your technology could reshape Arkel's balance. Our culture thrives in harmony, untouched by outside ambition. Why should we trust you? Chen met his gaze. Because I believe in the oath I took to protect life, not to destroy. I survived here because you sheltered me. I owe you gratitude and honesty. The chamber fell silent. Finally, an elder whose robes glowed soft green named Veli rose. Her voice was gentle yet firm. We have dreams, as our ancestors did, of strangers from beyond the stars. Some dreams warn of war. Some promise kinship. We will study your presence, Lieutenant Chen, and weigh our future in the light of truth, not fear. With that, the council adjourned, leaving Chen in the hush of moonlit crystal. As she descended the polished stairway, a sense of cautious hope rose in her chest. She had crossed a gulf of light years and found a people both alien and beautiful beings, whose guardianship now stood between her and whichever forces beyond the void might come searching. Outside, the twin moons glimmered on the dunes. Somewhere, in Earth's deep space network, Coalition signals must be tracing her last known coordinates. Whether that news would bring rescue or revelation, Chen did not know. But as she walked beneath the song of the spires, she resolved to give Arkel every chance to choose peace and to prove that one human, grateful and true, could honor the trust they'd placed in her. Lieutenant Marina Chen awakened to the sound of liquid light, soft shimming echoes, drifting through the translucent walls of her chamber. The daylight here was nothing like Earth's soft violet dawn, filtered through layers of crystal, casting prismatic patterns across the floor. She sat up on the woven silver bedroll, flexing muscles that were still tender from the crash's jolts. A slender figure appeared at the doorway, framed by a shifting halo of rosy luminescence. It was Ambassador Veli, her opaline skin aglow with welcome. In one hand she carried a crystalline teacup, its surface rippling like water. "Good morning, Lieutenant," Veli intoned, voice as calm as wind over still water. I trust. You slept well. Chen smiled, accepting the teacup. The liquid inside tasted of moonlight and warmth, sweet, faintly herbal, and strangely invigorating. Thank you. I feel much better. She glanced around the chamber. May I ask how? Does this place harness such gentle energy? There's no sun, only these moons. Veli's eyes glimmered. Arkel's core is alive with crystal veins that resonate with the planet's magnetic field. We've learned to shape and channel that resonance into light, sound, and healing energies. The spire stands on a nexus of these currents, so even without direct sunlight, energy flows freely. Once Chen had dressed in the spare uniform the Archelians had provided, light-fitting tunic and leggings woven with safety fibers. Veli led her through the spire's maze of corridors. They passed gardens where spiraling vines bore luminescent fruit, and libraries where knowledge lay encoded in shifting glyphs etched into walls of living crystal. Your people keep records and books, Chen said, stroking a vine's fuzzy tendrils. How do you store history here? At first, we inscribed on stone and metal, Veli explained. But centuries ago, we discovered that crystal can record not only sound and symbol, but feeling and intention. We grow knowledge as we grow crystals, tapping memories from the collective consciousness of the planet itself. One day, you must see the archives chamber. They reached a vast hall whose vaulted ceiling soared out of sight. Like the interior of an inverted mountain, rows of crystalline pillars glowed with soft blue light. At the far end, an immense pool of liquid glass lay perfectly still, reflecting the domed ceiling's iridescent patterns. This is the Hall of Echoes, Veli said. She placed a hand on one pillar. To share knowledge, we hum. Each pillar responds in turn, weaving our voices into a tapestry of sound. Soft chords rippled through the air as she hummed a note. The pillars answered in harmony, filling the room with waves of gentle music. Chen closed her eyes, letting the resonance wash through her. It's beautiful, she whispered. On Earth, we have music, but not like this. She opened her eyes at a figure approaching, Healer Maris, carrying a holo tablet like crystal. Lieutenant, Maris greeted, bowing slightly. Your medical scans are complete. Your calm implant is repairable, but it will take time and materials. Chen's heart sank and soared at once. So there is a chance, Maris offered, a sympathetic smile. We will requisition the necessary biometal from our reserves. In the meantime, Ambassador Veli has arranged for you to assist the Spire's engineers. It may help you recover more quickly and perhaps learn more about Archelian systems. Veli nodded. Your expertise with starship systems is valuable. Our communication arrays rely on crystal waveguides, not electronic circuits. You may find the parallels enlightening. That afternoon, Chen descended to the engineering wing, a cavernous chamber where technicians in translucent robes monitored banks of crystalline conduits. Luminous arcs of energy traced patterns between nodes, like living constellations within. The room, Chief Engineer Sakara greeted her. Unlike the Elder's flowing robes, Sakara wore a fitted harness studded with tools. I heard you're a starship engineer, she said with a grin that transformed her angular face into something almost feline. We could use your hands and mind. Chen rolled up her sleeves. Happy to help. Sakara led her to a damaged COMMRA module. It gleamed like polished diamond, yet its core crystals were fractured, dull. These waveguides transmit thought-encoded signals across orbital satellites. We suspect microfractures from the crash's electromagnetic backlash. Chen knelt beside the array, examining the fractures. They resembled hairline cracks in quartz, but impinged on energy flow. We'll need to anneal the crystal lattice, she murmured, pulling a compact toolkit from the harness Sakara had outfitted her with. For hours, Chen and Sakara worked side by side. Under Chen's guidance, they built a nano-resonator to focus harmonic energy into the fractures. Each pulse sang through the crystal, fusing shards without melting them. Sparks of azure light danced at the fracture lines until they glowed seamlessly again. Sakara clapped her hands. In all the Spire's millennia, no one's shown me that trick. Your people are clever. Chen leaned back, breathing hard. On Earth, we have machines for this. I just figured out how to do it by hand. Now let's calibrate it, Sakara said. If it holds, we'll test a low-power transmission to your wreck. She set controls, and the module emitted a gentle hum, then cleared into a coherent signal. A simple ping returned. From orbit. Chen's eyes lit up. It works. She felt the surge of triumph and relief. Thank you. Save your thanks for the coalition, Sakara teased. Or maybe get back up there and talk to your people. I'd like to see a human starship. In orbit, that evening, Chen was back in the Hall of Echoes, presenting her findings to a small gathering of Arclean scholars. She demonstrated waveguide repair techniques, showing comparative diagrams between Earth's fiber optic arrays and Arkel's crystal networks. Scholars recorded each detail in their living glyphs, quills of photonic ink tracing lines of light on crystalline tablets. When she finished, Veli approached. Your people call this hand-on teaching, she said. The exchange of knowledge strengthens bonds. You have given much today. Chen bowed her head. I only hope it's enough to repay your generosity. I owe you my life. Veli's opaline eyes gleamed. And your presence has given us a glimpse of the greater cosmos. Until now, our dreams of other worlds were but that dreams. You have made them real. As twilight deepened, Chen walked the spire's outer promenade with Maris. The lavender sky darkened to indigo, and the twin moons ascended to their zenith, casting pale light over the gardens below. Do you ever think of going home, Maris asked, her tone gentle but curious. Chen paused by a fountain carved from rose-hued quartz, watching crystalline water cascade in slow motion. Every day, she admitted. I miss home, but now I've found friends here. I feel responsible for this world. If Earth comes, will they stay friends, or will politics tear us apart? Maris laid a luminous hand on Chen's arm. Our choice. Fear divides, trust unites. You have shown us your heart. Let that be our guide. Chen closed her eyes, breathing. In the alien air, beneath the crystal towers and twin moons, she sensed a promise unfolding, that through understanding and cooperation, two worlds could bridge light years of distance, one human at a time. And as Arkel's night deepened, she resolved to honor that promise, come what may. Ask checked. A week passed since Chen's breakthrough in the engineering wing, and Arkel's cities had settled into a routine of cautious optimism. Beneath the crystal spires, scholars debated the finer points of Earth's governance, and artisans experimented with hybrid technologies, miniature crystal reactors, powered by fusion cores scavenged from Chen's wreck. Even in the marketplaces, vendors sold Terranian trinkets alongside bioluminescent fruit. It was as though Arkel itself breathed a newfound hope. Yet beyond the twin moon's embrace, a darker tide was gathering. One whispers on the winds of space, in the void beyond Arkel's peaceful system. The Black Crescent Armada assembled. Admiral Krov, a towering figure clad in armor black, as Obsidian stood on the command deck of the Dread Sovereign, watching a holomap of Nalari's flicker green. His lips curled in contempt. Those crystal-skinned Arcleans dare to harbor a human? He spat. The United Earth Coalition thinks they can extend its protection to every world we conquer. We will shatter that illusion. Krov tapped a sequence on the holopanel. Deploy the Vanguard, Squadron Theta 9. Strike swiftly. Leave no survivors. Behind him, rows of officers recoiled at the severity of the order, yet none dared question him. Among the shadowed corridors of the Sovereign, covert transmissions from Arkel's spire chamber crackled through stolen frequencies. Razan agents had intercepted Chen's repair pings, a human signal resonating through Arclean satellites. Now the Armada knew, one human of valor bare, on a world rich with resources, and vulnerable to exploitation. Greed and vengeance coalesced in Krov's will, a stellar raid to claim both prize and retribution. Two portents in Nalarismian while, on Arkel. The first subtle alarms arrived as ripples in the spire's resonance network. Chief Engineer Sakara detected unusual fluctuations in the energy grid. Power diverts, she reported, eyes wide, as though a massive energy signature is charging just outside our orbital defenses. In the Hall of Echoes, Ambassador Veli and Elder Soren convened an emergency session of the Quinari Council. Chen stood beside them, her uniform now fitted with a communication harness and utility belt. The chamber, usually suffused with serenading harmonics, lay unnervingly silent. Soren spoke first, voice low and grave. Our scanners show multiple vessels emerging from hyperspace warships of the Razan fleet. Their intent is clear. They come for the human among us. Veli's opaline eyes glowed faintly. They violate our sovereignty. But if we engage them alone, Arkel will be obliterated. Chen drew a steady breath. Earth won't stand by. If you let me send a direct distress call, coalition reinforcements will arrive. A murmur rippled through the council. Sirenko, the elder who had first questioned Chen's motives, rose in objection. You ask us to reveal ourselves to a distant power when we barely know. What if they bring war instead of salvation? Maris stepped forward, her empathic aura luminous. I sense fear here, not wisdom. The Razan fleet will not tolerate refugees. If we do nothing, they will crush us. Veli weighed the arguments, her hands clasped at her waist. Isolation kept us safe for centuries, but aggression finds isolation vulnerable. If Earth's protection is genuine, it may be our only hope. The council fell into contemplative silence. At length, Veli turned to Chen. Prepare the transmission. We will trust your people and hope their promise holds true. 3. Fortifications. Of crystal and will under Chen's direction. Arkel's engineers repurposed orbital mining platforms into defensive bastions. Crystal wave cannons traditionally used to clear asteroidal debris were recalibrated to fire focused harmonics, capable of disabling enemy shields. Nanocarbon scaffolds were woven into planetary turrets, blending Arcelian serenity with martial resilience. On the ground, the Spire's healers trained crystal-tuned medics to bolster soldier morale. Empathic pulses soothed panic, while Chen organized rapid drills for Nilarian militia and untested force armed with lightweight pulse rifles, and shield emitters drawn from her own pack. At her side, Veli donned a ceremonial breastplate of woven crystal, determined to stand as both diplomat and warrior-in-chief. That night, beneath a sky veined with starlight, Arkel's defenders gathered on the northern plateau outside Nalaris. The twin moons cast long shadows across the field as Chen addressed the assembled ranks. Today, we stand not as conquerors, but as guardians of our homes, our families, and the promise Arkel represents. We fight not for empire, but for survival. She paused, meeting each soldier's gaze. Let them see that one human's gratitude can ignite a world's courage. A hush followed her words, broken only by the soft hum of crystal armor. Then, in a unified pulse, weaponry activated, and the defenders formed a shimmering line beneath the lunar light for clash among the moons before dawn. The first Razan corvettes materialized beyond the planet's rings, sleek black darts silhouetted against the violet sky. Orbital sensors screamed as Theta 9 dropped out of slipstream, deploying swarms of drone missiles. In orbit, Arkel's newly commissioned defense platforms awakened. Crystal wave cannons discharged pillars of harmonic energy, slicing through Razan shields with uncanny precision. The cruiser Vashkar groaned as fractures spiderwebbed across its prow, then erupted in a cascade of debris. Below, Chen watched from a panoramic viewport in the spire, heart pounding at each distant boom. They've underestimated you, she whispered, voice thick with pride and fear. Hold the line. Back on the plateau, ground forces engaged Razan landing crafts. Pulse rifles barked in staccato salvos while empathic medics rushed among the injured, channeling soothing waves to dull pain and inspire determination. Veli moved like a living beacon, her breastplate glowing brighter with every life she steadied. Despite the defenders' valor, the Razan forces pressed on, hungry for conquest. With a thunderous boom, a heavy bombardment tore through the fields, sending crystal shards spiraling skyward. Chen, operating a portable calm ray, relayed energy grid readings to the spire. Their orbital cannons are recalibrating. We need to disrupt their targeting arrays. Sakara's voice crackled in her earpiece. Working on it, diverting power to the secondary pulse emitters. Stand by. Moments later, the air trembled as a shockwave ripped through the plateau. Razan cannons misfired, their warships convulsed under overloaded guidance systems. In the chaos, Arkel's fighters' sleek gliders carved from organic crystal swooped down, strafing enemy troops and forcing a retreat. As the first light of Arkel's dawn crept over the horizon, Razan vessels limped back into orbit. The battered armada held position, regrouping for another strike. But Arkel's defenders remained resolute. Amid shattered crystal and smoldering dunes. 5. The aftermath. And the omen in the spire's auditorium. Chen and Veli stood before the injured and the brave. The crystal walls had dulled to a somber hue, echoing the toll of battle. Maris moved among the wounded, her empathic auras gently knitting torn tissue and fading life. Soren approached, staff in hand, eyes reflecting both admiration and concern. "You have taught us much, Lieutenant Chen, and reminded us that peace without readiness can be a fragile dream." Chen shook her head. "Your strength comes from unity and from your willingness to fight for what you love," Veli added, voice trembling with emotion. "Today we repelled the Razhan fleet, but the true test is yet to come. Will Earth's armada answer our call in time? Will this planet remain under protection or stand alone against the widening shadow?" As if in response, the crystal walls shivered, and a low hum pulsed through the chamber. Arkel itself awakening to the gravity of their choice. Above them, the twin moons slipped behind the spire, and the first stars of dawn shone hope and warning in equal measure. In that suspended moment, Marina Chen closed her eyes and sent a silent plea across the void. May Earth's promise be as steadfast as Arkel's courage, and may the bonds forged in shared peril hold fast against the dark that gathers among the stars. The lavender dusk stretched its hues across Arkel's coral sands, as Lieutenant Marina Chen stood on the balcony of the celestial spire, watching the sky. In the hours since dawn's fierce battle, the planet had trembled with the aftershocks of conflict, and yet the spire's crystal towers still sang their gentle harmonics, calling forth the world's resilience. Around her, Arclean citizens and soldiers moved like a living tapestry, some tending wounded, others repairing shattered walkways, all bound by the same resolve that had carried them through the night. Veli joined her, her breastplate now dented and streaked with dust, but glowing softly with residual empathic energy. "They come," she said, her opaline eyes fixed beyond the horizon. Chen followed her gaze toward the western sky, where a fleet of gleaming silver shapes materialized in orbit. United Earth Coalition dreadnoughts and cruisers, their hulls reflecting the twin moons. "It's them," Chen whispered, a mixture of relief and awe in her voice. They came. Below, the Razhan armada lingered, warships crippled, corvettes drifting powerless. In one corner of the sky, a solitary coalition frigate dispatched boarding teams to secure the enemy vessels. In another, drop ships descended toward the glowing spire berth, ready to reinforce planetary defenses. Chen's comm unit crackled. "Lieutenant Chen, Admiral Hayes here. Good work down there. Planetfall in 15 minutes. Sit tight." His voice was steady, yet Chen could sense the weight behind each word. This was no mere show of force, but the culmination of a promise, an oath to protect. Veli placed a hand on Chen's shoulder, the empathic warmth grounding her. "Come, the council awaits you in the Chamber of Bonds." The Chamber of Bonds, so named for the crystal filaments woven into its ceiling. Each strand representing an alliance had been prepared for this very moment. At its heart stood a daze of living crystal, its facets shimmering with every emotion. Held within the room, seated around it, were the Quinari elders, their robes regally unadorned, each face reflecting the wear of recent strife. At their sides stood Soren, Maris, Sakara, and other key figures who had shaped Arkel's defense. Chen entered with Veli, bowing to the elders. Every eye turned toward her, some with hope, others with guarded anticipation. The silence was profound, as though the room itself awaited a verdict. Elder Soren rose first, his voice resonant in the vaulted chamber. "Arkel faced ruin under the shadow of the Razhan fleet. We stood alone, guided only by hope and by Lieutenant Chen's courage. Today, Earth has honored your word." He gestured toward the days where holographic projections flickered to life, images of coalition ships in orbit, Marines securing enemy vessels, and Earth's starry flag unfurling in the void. A murmur swept through the assembly, arcs of silver light dancing across the walls, like living constellations. "By the ancient laws of hospitality," Soren continued, "and by our own hearts, we accept Earth's protection. In return, we offer our friendship, our knowledge, and our pledge to stand beside you against any who would threaten the peace we have fought to defend." A gentle chorus of agreement rose, harmonizing with the crystal filaments overhead. Veli glanced at Chen, a smile breaking through the fatigue. "Do you, Lieutenant Chen, accept the covenant on behalf of the United Earth Coalition?" she asked, extending her hand. Chen stepped forward, placing her right palm upon Veli's. The crystals above them flared in brilliant white light, and a resonant vibration pulsed through every shard in the ceiling, Arkel's soul welcoming a new bond. "On behalf of Earth," Chen replied, voice clear and unwavering, "I accept this covenant. We vow to protect Arkel as we would our own home, and to cherish the trust you have placed in us." In that moment, a wave of warmth spread through the chamber, and the promise between two worlds was sealed. In the days that followed, Arkel became a beacon of cooperation and, quite literally, a hub of reconstruction. Coalition engineers joined Archelian architects to rebuild the Northern Plateau's defensive turrets, integrating terrestrial alloys with living crystal conduits, so that the new fortifications could pulse with empathic energy if needed. Coalition medics studied Archelian bio-wave therapy, astonished by its efficacy in healing trauma, while Archelian healers learned triage techniques for mass casualty events. Chen found herself at the center of it all. She coordinated joint patrol schedules, ensuring no Razhan remnants could launch guerrilla strikes. She exchanged data with Admiral Hayes on coalition protocols, helping the Archelians adapt to a larger geopolitical framework. And at night, when the dual moons cast their gentle glow, she walked the city's avenues alongside Veli and Sakara, marveling at how even the simplest streets bore the imprint of two cultures woven together. One evening, the three friends stood overlooking the coral gardens at the base of the spire. Bioluminescent petals drifted through the air like motes of light, and quiet hums rose from the ground, an undercurrent of life that thrummed with newfound vitality. "This place," Chen said softly, "it feels different now, alive in a way I never imagined." Veli nodded. "We have learned that isolation means safety only as long as no enemy seeks you. But now, with Earth's alliance, our isolation is a choice to remain guardians of peace, not prisoners of fear." Sakara traced a finger through the glowing leaves. "And we have learned that technology tempered by empathy can be a force for healing, not destruction." Chen looked up at her friends, feeling profound gratitude. "I didn't just bring you Earth's protection," she said. "You've given me something Earth never could, a model of harmony between living world and living people. I will carry this home with me." News of Arkel's alliance spread swiftly through the Coalition's interstellar network. Earth's Senate convened to ratify the Treaty of Archelian Accord, celebrated as a triumph of diplomacy and mutual respect. Fleet Admiral Hayes penned dispatches praising the planet's resilience and the lieutenant's valor, ensuring that no corner of Coalition space remained ignorant of the Covenant. Meanwhile, in the remains of the Razhan fleet, Admiral Krav fumed as he received word of Coalition reinforcements on Arkel. The losses his armada had suffered: destroyed corvettes, commandeered cruisers, Marines captured or surrendered, hurt more profoundly than any rebuke. He realized that by underestimating a single planet's willingness to fight, he had exposed his fleet to Earth's vast resources and determination. The armada fell back, its ambitions stymied at least for now, while Krav plotted retribution on other, less protected worlds. Back on Arkel, the grand celebration of the treaty occurred beneath the spire's great domed roof. Crystal banners unfurled, their surfaces inscribed with combined symbols of Earth and Arkel, a planet encircled by twin moons, and a stylized starship wing rendered in flowing glyphs. Ambassador Veli delivered an oration that spoke of unity among stars, of trust triumphing over fear, and of the promise that no one, no matter how small, would ever stand alone in the darkness. Chen stood at her side, her Coalition uniform crisp, metals gleaming. When Veli concluded, Chen raised her voice to reply, "On Earth, we say that home is where the heart finds its reflection. Here on Arkel, I have found new home among friends whose hearts beat with harmony. Today, we stand together, planet to planet, people to protect that harmony wherever the void may stretch." A thunderous outpouring of crystal-backed applause answered her words. As the ovation subsided, Chen stepped forward and placed a single rose-pink crystal gifted by the elders into a specially carved niche at the daïse's center. It glowed softly, a living emblem of the covenant. When the ceremonies ended, Chen returned to the spire's balcony one last time before departure. The coalition fleet was assembling for the long jump back to Earth space, but a diplomatic envoy would remain. Engineers, healers, scholars to form the first Archelian Union outpost, a bridge between worlds. Veli joined her, silent in contemplation. "Will you return?" she asked, eyes bright with unched longing. Chen took Veli's hand. "I will, and until then, we'll speak as often as our comm links allow. I'll bring more of Earth's healers, scientists, and artists, and I know you'll send some of your best minds to Earth. Together, we'll learn what it truly means to share our worlds." Beneath the twin moons, the two friends embraced, an Archelian embrace resonant with empathic warmth, a human embrace grounded in fierce loyalty. Then, as dawn approached on the distant horizon, Chen turned and walked toward the awaiting shuttles, carrying Arkel's rose-pink crystal in her pack and a galaxy of memories in her heart. As the engines ignited and Earth's silver ships ascended, the spire sang its farewell, a delicate cascade of harmonics that echoed across the planet, declaring that Arkel would never again stand alone. And in the cold expanse beyond the atmosphere, Chen gazed back at the glowing domes and crystal towers, knowing that through courage, compassion, and an unwavering promise, two worlds had forged a protection that would shine like a beacon for all who dared to hope.